Baseball.
News and notes. Yes, we want to talk about the new rules. The new rules. You ready for this, Hunter?
Have you heard this, Hunter?
Oh, what baseball wants to do by extending the yeah, I don't like it.
I love it.
I do too.
So we're going to talk about it. See what Hunter don't like, and there is a part of it I hate.
I think I agree with that. I'm probably on the same line of thinking.
So Major League Baseball is thinking about doing new playoff system. That's MMA. I don't want to go to MMA.
Yeah, you do.
What are the standings? Anyway, they're going to go to a new system here, or thinking about it, talking about it, options. And okay. So they're talking expanding. I thought they would expand to 6 and do like the NFL. But they're talking expanding to 7 teams in each league. And the highest would have the bye. And then the next 3 teams would get to choose who they play. I don't know how that would work. I guess the next 2 teams would choose who they play.
I hate that.
The other 2 division winners choose who they play, and then the last 2 would have to play each other. I do not like that at all. Like, how do you go down a line of good thought, good thought, good thought? Let's just do something stupid like the NBA. You can't, and baseball seems the one that does it. They tied the home field advantage in the World Series to the All-Star game. Now they want to let you choose
who you play,
your opponent, which is dumb. But I love the idea of more playoffs and more playoff teams. I've been saying it for years. Cut the number of games, which they haven't done. They haven't discussed that as part of this. But expand the playoffs, because baseball with 162 games, you could have over 100 meaningless games in your city, or 80 homeless games, but over 100 meaningless regular season games. So last year, Baltimore went 54 and 108. At no point were they in it, but with more playoff teams, it gave you a chance. Last year, remember, we were talking wild card at some point with the National League.
I mean,
about
I
10
would have
teams.
just been happy if they decided to make where the wild card game is not just a one game.
The one game I hate.
I would love it to be the 5 or 7 games like every other series.
So let's look at what it would be, Hunter. Last year's, if we did it. Where's my trusty notepad that's about had its days here. This is that was the WWE Mount Rushmore. All right, Hunter. Number 1 in the American League would be the Astros. Cheating Astros.
No, take them off. They cheated. Give it to the Yankees.
So they would have had the bye. It would have been Yankees and Twins in the 2 and the 3. According to them, they would get choices, but we're not going to do choices.
I don't want to do
we're
choices.
Just gonna,
I think choices is stupid.
There's a theory out about that too, so I'll talk about that theory in a minute.
What was it? They want to match up pitching?
Nope. This is what they think they've done. Okay, and this has come out today. I don't know if it was Kirsten or whoever said. He said he believes that they leaked this out for one reason. He said he don't think the traditionalists, because baseball traditionalists do not want to change up the way they do things,
right,
that they would accept bringing 7 teams in. So they put this out there that, this team is going to get to pick who they get to play. So when it actually goes to be voted on, they say we can do this, but we don't want to do that. Then they get to keep it traditional with it's going to line up based on the standings anyway, and that's going to be the scapegoat.
So
to getting it put in.
they put out fake news. That's what you're saying?
Yep,
fake news.
That's what the theory is from some of the baseball, all your baseball analysts, and that could be possibly something there.
Deep thoughts.
All right, y'all ready for the first round matchups? So, if we did it in the American League, we would have the 7 seed Boston Red Sox, who I knocked out
way early.
I predicted that. Y'all got to give me credit for that one. They were like 3-13,
right,
and I said they're done. It was like the second week of the season.
Right.
Terry's like, "Oh, we got plenty of time." And
He's a Red Sox fan?
No, he's a Kansas City Royals fan.
Okay.
But he was just saying they got plenty of time, and I'm like, no, you don't.
Terry won't be behind this. He won't be behind this because the Royals still won't make it.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
They're not making it.
In this either. So 1, 2.
The Yankees will get the bye.
Yankees get the bye. No, used to get the bye. They would play the winner of Oakland and Tampa, and then Yankees would host Boston, and Minnesota hosting Cleveland. Now, in the National League, let's get back over here. It would be
matchup.
it would be LA at 1 with the bye.
Mhm.
The Braves at 2. Cardinals 3. Nats 4. Brewers 5. Let's see, St. Louis,
Mets.
Atlanta, and then
Mets.
were the Mets the next in line in wild card?
86.
They were Mets and Diamondbacks.
And these teams in that range are pretty similar on record.
So Atlanta would have been hosting Arizona, Hunter.
Yeah.
Like or dislike.
It's winnable.
And then y'all would play the winner of St. Louis and the Mets, and then Washington and Milwaukee would play. So under this scenario, 3 teams in the NL East would have made the playoffs, Hunter.
and their records are at least 80 wins. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Right. If you're taking top 7 teams, everybody's going to be over 500.
You just don't want somebody like the NBA's got to, where you're
losing records.
Yes,
I think
that's
that's what
horrible.
I think they should honestly look into
I
into
agree.
cutting.
Yeah, but I think
agree.
the NBA would work out better if instead of doing West versus East, they did top 16 teams.
I didn't want to.
I know-
Play-wise,
I
it
didn't
was,
wanna
but travel
steer to-
would be
I
hell.
was just
No,
gonna say-
travel
I
would
would
be
just want
bad.
to say, based on, I didn't want losing teams in it. What that was
Mhm.
my.
Right.
You
right,
don't
right.
want losing teams in. I think it hurts.
The NFL, you can have losing teams. Panthers made it with a losing record.
Yeah.
The NBA and NFL, you can have a losing record and make the playoffs. The Major League Baseball, it's about impossible. You just can't.
Unless everybody just sucks.
Unless everybody in a division had a losing
just
record.
sucks.
And 162 games playing each other,
No.
somebody's going to end up with a winning record.
Somebody's gonna win 80 games.
Right.
I mean, that's where you're. Well, how many games?
81 would be half.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. 81.
So you do like the
Yes.
format? Don't like? What
I
would you do?
I like adding the teams. I don't like picking your matchups. Number one,
I think that's what was so bad on me is I can get with the adding teams.
Okay.
I want them to make the wild card games series, not just one game.
They
but I
said-
don't. I'm
they
like
said
I
what
don't
they're-
like to pick them.
They said what the way they're going to
I do
do.
like the 3.
The proposal on this, Hunter, is a 2-5-7-7 playoff. I mean 3-5-7.
Yeah,
3-5.
I'm gonna say.
2
Oh,
out of
that's
3.
fine.
3-5-7-7 is
That's
what they're
fine.
talking.
If you don't want to do the full 5 and the full 7 game series, that's fine.
I would
3 is fine.
even
Wouldn't you
bring
rather-
the World
3 is
Series
fine.
at 7. I wouldn't even do the
Listen.
the championships. I just wouldn't.
No, I would do them all at 7.
Think so?
Because here's why. I would rather see a 7-game first-round playoff series than the Baltimore Orioles play the the Detroit Tigers in a 4-game series in October. Wouldn't you rather see that? So that's your choice. That's what you're basically making that choice over. Do we add more playoff games and take away some regular season games?
Oh, you're saying take away regular season games.
That's why they
plus
have it-
doing a 7.
that's why they
I don't
have
have
it-
a problem with that.
That's why they don't do all 7s, because they're still trying to fit it in the same
And
schedule.
I understand that. I
Instead
have
of
no
taking
problem
away.
with that.
I would rather
they
see
play
that.
Too many, they play too many games now, and when you talked about the other day, then if you drop the amount of games, and we think that the reason the amount of games was played was because back then they didn't have the TV rights, money that they were getting, but
Right.
you're gonna have to draw a line in your stats, overall stats. But you were even talking about they don't even count stats anymore; they count WAR. So, and I'm not a fan of that stat.
All right, so we fixed baseball.
I like adding teams. I don't like picking who you want to play. Now, it could be really bad if you pick the team. That is, what do you call it? Locker room.
Right, that's going to make somebody mad, right? You don't want that as a coach.
No.
You don't want that on you, do you? Saying I'd rather play
No.
these teams because that's
No.
just be
I
nothing
just say
but
flip
fact.
a coin.
Right, that's going to do nothing but backfire. Just put them in order.
Yeah,
Start
just do. And I think that's what they're going to do based on what the insiders say that's happened.
All right, couple quick baseball rule changes, Zach. I want to, if you hit a batsman, he gets 2 bases. That will stop throwing at batters for the most part, a lot of part. You're up 9-0, it's not going to stop it. But you're not going to intentionally hit someone in fairly close games.
No, you won't hit nobody
not-
if they get 2 bases.
Not what the score is.
You won't ever get to see Nolan Ryan take out.
I think you'll still see it some because if you get hit, then you know for a fact he did it on purpose, probably. What do you think about moving the mound back 2 feet
Yeah,
or a foot and a half? A foot and a half to 62 feet.
Excuse me. what did we figure out when you moved it back was going to change the pitching speed?
It'd slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
it would slow it down just a touch.
Wonder,
And remember, baseball's made changes to the ball to make it spin faster.
Yeah.
They have totally changed the ball. This is scientific proof that we all know this. And it's not as necessarily flying further, but it's spinning faster is what the ball's doing because they've lowered the seams on them. It's kind of what they've done.
And this is pretty telling. The average fastball from a major league starter is 92.3. Average.
Wonder what it's been through the years.
That's what I was thinking in my mind. Average speed or average velocity is the thing. Velocity. MLB.
Just type in average
95.
fastball over the years.
In 2008, the average speed. This is interesting. The average fastball in 2008 was 90.9. So you're telling me not doing something with these balls? It's 92.3. That's 2 miles an hour faster. The average speed jumped to 92.
Hunter, you don't think that's doing from shoulder presses?
2013.
Shoulder presses.
From 2008.
Oh yeah, doing some nice shoulder presses and then
You got the
coming
same
in
one.
here with a nice
2008,
stretching band,
2013.
loosening that shoulder up.
2
No,
miles
we
an
all
hour.
know that's coming from Tommy John surgery. They're making that elbow stronger.
They're all doing Rookie of the Year out there. Ain't that what that movie was about?
They
It
got
told us
Tommy
all-
John came out
It told
better.
us all what was about to happen.
Did the creator of the Simpsons make that movie?
They might have. That was an awful sneaky way to tell everybody about these surgeries.
Well, what? Rookie of the Year?
There's you something. Since it's went up every year since 02.
It
went down 04 to 05. Went down twice.
88.5 was the average speed in 02 until in 2016 it's 92 miles an hour.
Okay, so the cheating scandal with the Astros.
Yeah.
I've always contended that once you get to 90 miles per hour plus, you're almost guessing.
Yes.
And Zach just showed the average fastball used to be 88.
It went up 4 miles an hour in 20 years.
And now it's at 92. So, like, to me, like, for the Astros players doing what they're doing, what I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm okay with it. I'm saying I understand why or how it helps, because if you're in the batter's box and someone's throwing 95,
Mm-hmm.
Because that was just average.
so you're thinking, okay, he's going to throw a fastball. So if he throws the fastball here, I have to swing almost as soon as he lets go of it. And, Zach, I have to get the right location.
Yes.
Because I can swing high, I can swing low, but if I'm not swinging at the ball, it don't really matter.
Don't matter.
So there's two things that going into just hoping you get it right. So then when they throw a slider, a 90-mile-per-hour
Still
slider
have to
at
hit
you,
it.
or a curve or whatever, and it's moving and you're not looking for it,
Mm-hmm.
You're not hitting it.
you're not hitting it. I'm telling you, you're in the batter's box thinking fastball or breaking ball. One of the two. You have to choose one at that speed. You have to choose one of those two almost when you're in the batter's box, and then attack that way. And them hitting the thing or making a noise telling you what it was. I totally get that as a batter because it's gonna help your timing. Just knowing that it's a fastball, because then you don't have to worry. You just time your foot,
Mhm.
look for your spot, and if the fastball's not in that spot, then you can take the pitch. I think it was a big deal.
And
with
they
what they're
said
doing.
the other day, they said that they've been stealing pitches, stealing
Signs.
signs since the beginning.
Right.
But to do it, and what's illegal is to do it with technology.
Technology. You're supposed to be. If you can sit on the
We're
baseball
in the
field and get any sign you
21st
want,
century.
yeah.
Now, if you were smart, you just have certain signals for certain times of the game. at
We
different
are in
times,
the
and
21st century. Let them do whatever the hell they want.
I just say, and it goes back to the steroid thing. Okay, let's just say Bonds did take what he did. If he did, he still had to be able to hit it. He still had to have hand-eye coordination, even if you know what's coming.
Yeah.
At that speed,
No, I
you
agree.
still have to hit it. Randy Johnson, we talked about his what did he throw, the slider?
Yeah,
at
fastball
6'10".
slider.
Oh my goodness, you still got to hit that, and it's going to be most of the time coming towards you.
His slider started behind the batter
Mm-hmm.
at 90 miles per hour.
So
Your first instinct is close my eyes and don't die.
Right.
And then he breaks it 3.5 feet over
And
the plate.
and then feel for the guy that saw the pigeon explode in front of him and say, "Man, I still have to hit this."
Yeah.
You know, I have to hit this. I walked away.
We just took automatic K.
I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Or he wants to give you a little chin music,
Yeah.
and he locates it right under your chin just to pull you off the home plate a little bit.
No, the scary thing is when he throws it and goes, "My bad, that one slipped." You're like, what's the next one gonna do?
Man.
So I don't
Yeah.
think these players are that much more talented than what we had before. I just think the balls are flying. They're flying faster and flying farther.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, like I
So-
said, they changed the seams on them. They admitted to them. They got caught. Major League Baseball players are producing balls are produced in one factory. Guess where they're at, Zach?
Is it Mexico?
No, Cuba. Why? That's not fishy at all, is it?
Hey man, they are making Cuban cigars right next to
Who's that,
baseballs.
Zach, who's
What am I
that walking down the hall?
That was Andre.
Oh, okay. That doesn't raise up any suspicion, does it? The Cuba?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Castro ain't over it no more.
Oh goodness.
Not for a long time.
So any other baseball changes y'all want to make while we're doing that?
I don't have any problem with them doing. I think
Hunter
it'll
don't
be
want the
good.
DH, right?
I like.
I don't want the DH in the National League. I really don't want the
I don't
DH at
either.
all. I think they should take it out of the American League. But if
I
you
do.
want to go anything else that I would change, I'm fine with adding more games
Mhm.
to the playoffs if, like you said, you take away games from the regular season.
So with all that, do we? What's your?
To
number
me,
one,
I
do you
would-
like the DH? Do you like the DH? I don't.
I'm going to say yes and no. And I don't want it as far as part of the game. It'd be nice to see the players earn their way batting and pitching. I don't mind it per se sometimes because if the pitcher's not going to give any attempt whatsoever, like, why be up there? But if there wasn't a DH, the pitchers would work on it,
Yes.
right? And think about if there wasn't a DH and the pitchers had to bat, I think you would see less relievers. You know, we got 12, 13 relievers out here specializing. I'm going to go throw to one lefty.
So, well, to me, it's
if you had to be able to swing two,
the
then
DH.
you wouldn't have a lot of that.
So the DH, obviously, it stands for what it is.
I think it
it's
just
your
saves.
designated hitter.
Yeah.
To me, what difference does he have other than he's at the plate more than once than a pinch hitter?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you can
Just
still
3
make the
times.
you can still make the
Right.
move with the pinch hitter, but the pinch hitter usually has to go and play the position that he
Right.
filled in
Well, now
in the
they're getting
lineup.
into-
Why would you not just say you can have multiple pinch hitters in an inning and make like they already do? Just take away the designated hitter. He doesn't have to lose his job. But when you need him in crunch time, then you can.
I don't
call
like
on
because
him.
he can't catch either.
Well, that's where I was going. Now
It's
that you
just
got
putting
your
in-
DHs,
you're putting
going
in
Hall
big,
of Fame thing.
yeah. If you're putting them in, you're just putting in big people that only thing they're doing. That's another thing is that all they're doing is hitting. But then you could say, well, that's the relievers. A DH to me is like a closer / reliever. Like how much is he actually helping the team per se? Is he the DH is obviously not helping the team more than the 9 other position or 8 other position players. I don't
Right.
think. Unless they're hitting 350 and 40, but they're still not helping on the field. And as a fielder, that to me that just bothers me. I wouldn't say, just when you think about your DHs, the reason the DHs I played with in high school were DHs was because they were slower and couldn't catch as much as the other guys at first base, and that's why they played DH.
And then our second question for both of y'all is, what's the number do you shoot for if you drop the amount of games?
140.
140.
I was
thinking
about to
even at
say
100.
I was gonna say drop it 20 games maybe.
120 would
what's-
probably be perfect.
I was thinking 100. So if we split 140 and 100, that's 120.
Let me give you a little quick strikeout stat. Folks will say, well, who wants to see pitchers strike out every at bat? Well, I got one for you. Who wants to see Mike Trout strike out every at bat? I did
Whoa, hey.
I did the math on it.
A lot of people you diss on pitchers. Hold on
Right.
now. They're the ones that would understand pitches better than some of the hitters. They're the ones that throw the dang thing.
I don't understand why catchers aren't the best hitters. They should be awesome.
It should be easy picking up the ball.
They
Easy.
should be awesome at hitting.
easy.
All right, Zach, the math on it is Trout strikes out 23% of his at-bats.
That's horrible. That's 1 every 4. That's horrible.
Ozzie Smith got in the Hall of Fame batting .260. So he's a Hall of Fame almost strikeouter. All right, you ready for this? Adam Wainwright strikes out every 28% of the time. So Adam Wainwright, if him and was replaced, if he pinched hit for Mike Trout,
yeah,
in 100 at bats, Trout would strike out 23 times. Wainwright would strike out 28 times. That's
right.
That's only 5 out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me, hey, the greatest player of all time, Hunter, only strikes out 5% of the time more than a pitcher.
I don't have anything to you know my stance on Mike Trout.
Hey, you know what Chris Davis's is, though? I got one for you. 33. He strikes out 33% of the time.
Jim Thome struck out 33%.
Did he
of the
really?
time. Yes, he did. I was looking up guys I would remember striking out a lot. The one that surprised me, the most strikeouts of a career is Reggie Jackson.
He did. I do remember that fun stat.
It was
that
for
people
the
would
fence
say.
or nothing, really.
He was the ultimate swing forward or nothing.
Right.
So
For the
yeah.
fence, Mr. October.
yeah, don't have a. I'm good with that. I was thinking in my head the number of games that you would play. They're getting their money from the TV deals anyway. They don't need the money from
Getting their
inside
money from the
stadium.
TV deals and the fact that they've got a couple billion-dollar owners just sitting there shelling money whenever they want.
I would. We've talked about this. I don't know. We talked about it on the show. We have talked about. I would love to have a local MLB team. I think we did talk about it on the show.
Now here's the question I have, and I'd posed it one time. Someone told me, it was like, well, it goes against capitalism. Well, we do it already in 2 other sports. Would you like to see a salary cap implemented in Major League Baseball to where you have teams that don't just whoever has the most money, like how the Yankees have gotten every World Series that they have?
But you got Kansas City that come in there too. They're a small market, and didn't they win the World Series years back? I thought they did. It was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, but even then, on a salary cap, they're on an even playing field just with everybody else. The only thing that would hurt them is small market. That's it. But they'd still all be on the same salary cap.
That's our engineer. He just walked in. He's checking some stuff out.
I don't have a problem with that. So I'm good with all that we talked about that.
I got one more stat. I'm gonna find it here in a second. I just got so many notes I got to go through.
He just wants to rip Mike Trout a little bit more.
that might be what it is. It was about the Angels really instead of Trout, but it is about Trout.
And I want you to think of how, because that's what I mean by the salary cap might help. Because look at what the Dodgers just did. The Dodgers just moved for Mookie Betts. Yeah. They've already got what's the Bellinger? They've already got Clayton Kershaw. They've got weapons everywhere, and it helps that Kroenke's just made of money. He's just made of money. He pulls it out of places nobody else would know to look. And does that not hurt a Minnesota? Because if I'm not mistaken, since they ended up having to be wasn't it a 3-team trade? That's the only way that was even going to work. And they pull in Minnesota into the trade. And guess what? Minnesota's not even in the conversation to land Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the other team. They're just the other team so that the Red Sox, major market, and LA, major market, can get the players that they need to just flip-flop. That's what it was. I don't understand that. To me, it's like, capitalism. So what, man? You mean to tell me Mike Trout needs $400 million to play baseball?
I just think they got it's skewed on what they pay him. And Kevin's talked about he makes more than a lot of teams by himself, and he's not worth what he makes versus a whole team.
The 3 highest contracts: Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. None of them made the playoffs. None of them.
And then
they
the
all
team that,
came out to be $1 billion.
Bryce Harper left.
They ended up winning the World Series.
Awesome.
If that's not irony, I don't know what is.
I think
I'm off.
Kevin, which stat are you looking up?
I've got a payroll stat here for the Angels. I'm trying to find.
So while you're looking at that, so what position? We'll just say this: what position would you say would garner you the most potential wins? Would you think it would be starting pitcher?
Catcher.
You would think so too. What do you say, Kevin?
Catcher.
I was thinking pitcher in my head, just to see who
I mean,
you get the most wins out of.
Kershaw is going to get you
money wise. too.
Well, money to me, like it is pitcher because Kershaw, they always tell you, he at least a quarterback is going to guarantee you maybe 5 or 6 wins or 7, depending on his play. It was the same thing in baseball. He's got the ball in his hand every play, almost, except when they're at bat.
Right. Griffey, Ichiro, Trout, and Bonds have a combined 0 world championships. The catching Molina brothers have 5. Yadier Molina in his career, Zach, Cardinals had 1 losing season in his career, and they won 77 games. That's in Yadi's career. Now, is that Adam Wainwright's fault? Pujols was only there for half of them. Or is that because the catcher's team ERA is the best in the league when he's in the lineup and not when he is in the lineup? I think it's 4 when he's in the lineup, 5 when he's not in the lineup.
That's 1 run is a lot.
1 run per game by the catcher.
Yeah.
So you can talk about, does Trout produce 1 run a game or does Griffey or Bonds produce 1 run a game? That dude right there, we know when he catches, the other team gets less than 1 run a game. That is huge to me.
And if you think about it, I mean, if we're just saying positional, he's basically a middle linebacker, right?
Right.
That's what he really, if you're putting it in football terms, because he's got to watch all the bases.
Right.
He's got to handle the pitcher, where he wants the ball placed, what he calls, and he's in the ear of the batter too.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. So the catcher's got to know everything. He's pretty. You talk kind of the middle linebacker. He's kind of like really the quarterback, but I guess the pitcher is more of the quarterback in that sense. But yeah, it's not. To me, and I text Philip Russ when this about this, and I asked him, would you rather have, if you're going to a ball game, and let's say you could either have the all-star catcher and an average catcher, or an all-star center fielder and an average center fielder, which would you rather have? And he said, I'd rather have the all-star catcher, just because it just changes so much. Not only offensively, but the defensive stuff. And like I said, with him, being able to only 1 losing season in 18 years, and he lowers the actual team RA by a whole run. I just think that's just too much. Maybe I don't have it on my notes. Maybe it's in my tweets, Hunter. But the Angels, what I was trying to find, Zach, is they've been the top 10 in payroll every year, pretty much, that Trout has been there. So, you can't blame that. Then this year they've added, Reardon and another player, so it's only getting bigger. Here you go. Here's their payroll ranks. I got you. 4th, 4th, 7th, 6th, 7th, 7th, 11th, 6th, and 9th. So in his 9 seasons, Zach, only 1 time has the Angels not been in the top 10 in payroll. And they have 0 playoff game wins. Right. So there was the point on that, is that you can have that payroll all you want. How about some eye-opening numbers for you folks as far as, you talk Mike Trout and the guys in the past. How about Mike Trout? His career high slugging percentage is .645, the best he's ever had. Mm-hmm. Barry Bonds did that 7 times. 7 times. You know what Barry's best ever is? Slugging percentage. .863. Monster. .863 is his best. Trout's is .645. All right. Babe Ruth, if he was Zach, here's your Babe Ruth stat of the day. If he woke up and was resurrected today, he could go 0 for 1,146 straight strikeouts and still have a better slugging percentage than Barry Lamar Bonds.
Wow.
He could strike out 1,100 straight times and still have a better slugging percentage than Barry Bonds. That's Babe Ruth. How about Rogers Hornsby? The reason I bring him up is the Trout fans were attacking him the other day, Hunter. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I'll bring up some Hornsby. Roger Hornsby had 7 40-double seasons, 7 200-hit seasons, 3 330 and 100 RBI seasons, 2 400, 30 and 100 RBI seasons. How about this season? Maybe the greatest baseball season of all time, Zach. He batted .407, 40 homers, and over 100 RBIs. In 1 year, 400, 40 homers, 100 RBIs. He's had 3 400 batting average seasons. Mike Trout has did all that 0 times.
I want to look at
Trout, real quick. Let me finish.
Okay,
Trout's
you're good.
career high is 326. Hornsby did that 11 times. In 8 years, Hunter,
Yeah.
Trout has 1,100 strikeouts. 8 years. How many think Hornsby had in 23 years?
800.
679. In 23 years, Hornsby had 679 Ks. Trout already in 18 years has almost doubled him with 1,100
In only 8 years.
In 8 years.
Yeah.
And
8
3
years.
times the last years has almost doubled him in strikeouts. Isn't swinging and a miss bad?
You know, that's what I was taught by my father growing
Strike
up.
3, you're out.
Do you remember the old Major League swing and a miss?
Was it strike? Is it strike 3? Well, don't worry, your war will still be good. Is that how they do it now? Like when you walk back to the dugout,
50-50, either a strikeout or home run.
do they honestly would rather have a strikeout than a fly ball now? Or a ground ball.
And they shouldn't, because you can move players over on that.
That's the one thing that isn't
Small
accounted for in the
algorithm.
Oh
wow!
Is that players moving up base to base?
It just drives me crazy.
All right. What else? That
Did
you
want to
said
bring
you
a
had
quick
another.
stat. You was talking about catchers, and I looked up top 10 catchers all time on ESPN. Number 10, Gary Carter. He has 1 championship.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, Mickey Cochran. He has 3 championships. Number 8, Buster Posey. He has 3 championships.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Mike Piazza. He has none.
Mm-hmm. He was a hitter.
He was a hitter. Number 6 is Ivan Rodriguez. He has 1.
I think he might be the best ever.
I would agree, but we saw him.
Yeah.
Roy Campanelli, he has 1. Carlton Fisk, none. That's surprising. Yogi Berra, he's loaded. Josh Gibson, they called him the Black Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he was
has
awesome.
6. And Johnny Bench had 2. So only
Whoa.
2 out of the 10 didn't get a championship. They said Johnny Bench is the best.
How in the living hell is Yadier Molina not on that list?
He was on the top 10
Get
of the
the
decade.
fuck
We'll just
outta
say
here.
that. We're top 10 of the decade. He didn't make top 10 all-time greatest.
If he had a Yankees hat on, Hunter,
Yeah.
he would be the greatest catcher of all time. We wouldn't even be talking about it. They would forget who Yogi Berra was. If Yadier Molina had done what he did in St. Louis and in New York,
He wasn't even ahead of Piazza. That's kind of disgraceful.
how many championships Jeter win?
I have no idea.
Don't know.
5?
I don't know. They